We'll see.
In the top right, game number 2, it is Acer's Bly.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand side with the blue Protoss player. Give it up for Probe.
My
Team
cat
Echo?
is watching the snow, and I really want to take him out right now. I think I'll lose him in the snow.
Apollo is very white.
I'm gonna try it.
Oh
Okay,
god.
your turn now. What you're gonna say?
I don't remember.
Is it to
I
copy or to mimic or something?
I don't remember. All I
Jesus.
remember now is that I'm just imagining that image. I don't know if you've seen the image of the dog that gets just dropped in the snow and it just stops motor function. It just plops in and it just nothing happens after that. I think it looks like it's shut down.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
would
what I
be.
imagine you doing to Apollo.
It might be what happens. We actually, there's been a, not as big of a blizzard as this. Like, we were actually in a blizzard, but there was a lot of snow once last year.
We're Blizzard game right now, aren't we?
Oh, it's clever. And we took him outside and let him sit down in it. And it was kind of hard to see him, I'm not gonna lie. But he did not appreciate it.
I can imagine. Well, really quickly want to touch upon the uh, hatchery coming down from Bly. I like when Zerg players go for this more forward hatchery. It's just a small thing. You get up the creep spread. You can just get up any sort of early defenses that you need over here a little bit earlier on. And I really just like it a little bit better. Even just getting the queen over there a bit earlier to deal with any kind of early depth harassment is nice.
I guess speaking of adepts, to kind of focus more on Probe, he was the one that took the brunt of the damage initially. It wasn't a lot of damage. It was a handful of lings, but it did trip up his opener for a little bit. And then he went into a very passive game where he opened up with those 2 Stargates, and we know how the game went on very passive after that. But now it's a fresh game, it's a different map, you have a lot of opportunity to try out your other builds, your other compositions, including something with adepts. I'm not sure about an all-in, although I guess that is possible, but setting those adepts in, trying to get as many drunk kills as possible, utilizing the War Prism a lot more. I mean, the War Prism was really underutilized last game. It was mostly run-bys.
That is definitely true, and it was oftentimes trying to do run-bys with the DTs that, like in the earlier stages, where it just got shut down by the fact that there were spore calls at every base, and Bly did a really good job of just dealing with the DTs early on, so we'll see if maybe Probe can make something different happen. He's once again going for that secondary unit as the Stalker, so he can make sure that, hey, to deal with any kind of scouting overlords and get it by tech nice and safely.
Cool little interaction there, as Bly was really trying to circumvent the Adepts, and Probe knew that was the case, so was absolutely ready for it. It's going to be another Stargate, but it's not a double Stargate, so it's actually at the front too. That's a little odd position for it.
Yeah, I think there's still time for a second Stargate if he wants to throw it down a little bit later. I've seen some Protoss players open with a single Stargate and they end up throwing up the second Stargate a little bit later just because they opt to go for the slightly faster third. So one Phoenix starts to clean up whatever overlords are on the map, and then you follow it up with the second Stargate and start pumping out Phoenix a bit later on to seize control. But we'll see if he ends up going for something like that, or it's just going to be it. Oracle opening, Phoenix opening, time will tell. Phoenix it is.
On the other side of the map, Bly has misrallied these drones. I thought I was on the other side. There we go. What I was gonna say has just been droning pretty hard. They're pretty
If
even
you want to
workers.
if you want to use the extractor, you got to come in for the back entrance. That's where the employees come in from.
Yeah, right? Ugh.
Ooh.
Have you seen the back of an
Oh.
extractor? It's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't look hygienic, but a lot of Zerglings sacrifice to move into the main base, taking a lot of shots from that Photon Overcharge, and does manage to get a decent scout off on pretty much everything. Sees the Stargate, sees the third expansion, sees... I mean, doesn't see anything that he wouldn't have seen as soon as that Phoenix came out and started killing the Overlord.
Oh, there is that big burst of drones that now has pushed Bly ahead in that work accounts, but Probe, I mean, with the third base already done, he's just, he's not so far away from being at his own perfect saturation.
Pretty heavily supply blocked. Bly is gonna have a bit of trouble getting a whole lot done for a little bit, as 3 Overlords are gonna be on their way. 2 of them finish up, but Phoenix is coming out, and they will be able to find a couple more stray Overlords. This is, gonna be pretty annoying.
Yeah, the spore crawlers came down, I guess, fairly late into how quickly he saw that first Phoenix. So this one Overlord will die. The Phoenix takes some pepper for it, but it was worth as long as it stays alive. Fourth base on the way now for Bly. The question, I suppose, is he going to saturate? I mean, 62 drones is pretty good in Legacy of the Void. You don't really have to go up to 70 even on 4 bases, but just wondering about any of these roach pushes. Dust Towers, not really a map that's so well designed for that. A couple of pylons right up here, and you just do not ever want to push up that ramp. But Probe's kind of playing it close to the chest here, with the pylon just kind of circling around that nexus. Does leave a lot of leeway for Ravagers to get some micro done and whatnot.
Yeah, sort of. It's always interesting to see how different Protoss players end up positioning their pylons, but now we see a slightly more forward pylons ready to deal with any kind of big Ravager attacks. I guess those other pylons really just good for dealing with, say, a big Zergling run-by that it covers your mineral line, but also covers, the front in case there is a big Roach attack that doesn't necessarily push in from the corners of the area. But fourth expansion up for Blind. Both these players really playing it out in a big macro game, and I've got to say, macro game on this map looks a lot better for Protoss than on Pre and Terrace.
Choosing to pick up these Phoenixes, but the other two...
Ooh.
Or choosing to pick up the Queens, but the other two Phoenixes were a little bit misrallied, so loses the Phoenix. Doesn't get much for it. Once again, going for charge fairly early. Ryu did not play a huge part in that last game. I guess they harassed a little, that's true, but, it went so quickly to that mass air. It felt almost useless. We also have a Robo with the Robotics Bay right behind it, a second Robo, excuse me. So, Disruptors or double Immortal pumping. I mean, it could be for Warp Prism speed, but I think he's just gonna get Disruptors, yeah.
Disruptors, yeah. Sort of interesting to see Charge and Disruptors. This is... I say it's interesting because I haven't seen a whole lot of it. It's a bit of a mixing in of styles, but a lot of Roaches getting forced in over here. They're going to try and target fire down these Immortals. They're going to be pretty successful in that regard, but this is turning into a bit of a mess for both sides.
Yeah, really trying to brute force his way through here. All I kept thinking was if he only had like 7 Ravagers there too, how much could that have helped out? But this is not going to be able to push through and win the game. The Disruptor does use the shot, so, it's a long time for it to wait, but it's just not enough Roaches, I don't think. It's targeted down to Sentries real quick, like. Phoenixes are starting to run out of energy a little bit. That is the last Immortal you will see. But Bly does back off.
Yeah, and I just want to finish my point really quick because I feel like it's going to be relevant with how many Disruptors we see coming out, as well as the fact that a lot of these weapons have been charge zealots, and this is one of these things that I really want to see how Pro pulls this off, because at the beginning of Legacy of the Void, I thought, oh man, what would be a really cool composition? Charge lot Disruptor, except the Disruptors just, they go off on your opponent's units on top of your charge zealots, and oh god!
Yeah. Okay.
Disruptors get pretty good hits off.
So it got a hit on itself, but it also got a hit on the Roaches, so I guess it made up for it.
Yeah, Disruptors don't take damage from each other's Disruptor shots. That is one nice advantage about them.
Got hit the Immortal like a Sentry.
Oh, yeah. A little bit awkward, but I really want to see how Probe makes this work, because it's such a weird composition to be going for. Disruptor plus Charge Lot. Your Disruptors are going to be going and trying to do splash AoE damage, including friendly fire damage, in the exact same place that your Charge Lots are going to try and go.
Oh, Bly, please go kill that gateway. Okay, good. The Roaches are being cleaned up in the natural and main with these cannons coming down, so didn't add too much damage on top of it. Barely any damage at all. 2 drones have gone down, not really worth. But Bly is not in a terrible position, just a little bit worrisome of one, trying to catch up on that tech, the hive, the lurker den, whatnot. But I don't think that Probe is in any hurry to push out either. Of course, those charge lots, they're beefy, they're strong, they can take a punch, but the Disruptors have to be very careful.
Yep, Phoenix is trying to do some more damage in the main base, but they do scout out the Lurker Den, as well as some of the Hydras that are already out, and does need to be prepared for some of those Lurker attacks, but got some of those Disruptors. Disruptors going to be useful against those, and now we're starting to see a bit of a shift. No more Disruptors being made. Got a Warp Prism, got Immortals coming out, and I guess preparing to go into that Charge Lot Archon style.
Oh, this is not an engagement. Yeah, Bly going through this choke, but it's more of a distraction anyways. It's a big old shark attack going into the 3rd base. It's the Robotics Bay, Temple Archives. That's a lot of important unit structures.
Yeah, and even just the probe's gonna be going down immediately, but the roaches make their way over into the main base, and this choke is gonna work out relatively poorly for Probe, especially with the force field keeping himself out, and these shark attacks gonna be going to every base. But I like this. We got a photon cannon in every single one of these bases to detect the burrowed roaches.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to write that down. If you wanted to make this last. But the fight once again trying to go towards the front. I think Bly is just playing this game just a little too fancy, to be honest. I usually like fancy Bly, but it's just not working. Sit back, get your Roach Hydra, get your Lurkers out. He certainly has the bank for it.
Oh, the Lurkers on the high ground are starting to do some really good work, as each one of these guys getting at least a couple of Probe kills and denying mining over that 4th expansion. And Probe on the other side of the map, not really in a good position to retreat back and deal with those Lurkers. Is just going to accept his fate for now and try and go for the counterattack. There is not a lot of Lurkers over here for Bly.
But it is a large army. He finally used some of that bank. Still has enough behind it for maybe these ultras. They will not have their plating, and I question their use, but it's gonna take a while. Jesus, he really wanted that War Prism.
Okay, well, the Disruptor killing off 3 Zealots and those Zerg units, that's unfortunate, but still, Probe in a bit of an awkward situation. Oh my god, these 4 crawlers are doing so much work just in keeping these Zealots from getting good surface area. It's a really weird engagement.
These Lurkers made me so mad. Finally, he realized he has 2 Lurkers on the high ground. Could have been shown away at a couple of key units if they were already burrowed. But that detection is down. The Hydras are what's actually going to reinforce. They could be chopped up by Zealots. That's exactly what's happening. The 4th base was actually going to straight up to go down for Probe. And I don't know if that's worth it. He didn't touch the drones, really. Didn't touch the 4th base.
This is really awkward. I mean, that felt like it was going to be Pro's best chance at really making some magic happen, but losing that 4th expansion, as you said, really hurts. He had +2 weapons, but very soon now those upgrade advantages that he had are going to start to be minimized a little bit, as 1-1 finishing up for Acer Bly, although...
Oh, Jesus.
Melee attacks?
Perfect split. Yeah, I think he really is looking forward towards those Ultralisk, but just realizing like I don't quite have enough time to put my bank into them. It's a little awkward. Didn't realize he didn't have these Hydralisk upgrades.
Yeah, Bly gotta be really careful about not overcommitting over here. Those Charizards will catch up with those Hydralisks, guaranteed 100% of the time.
Yeah. The Greater Spire is out on the way. Oh, I don't know. Why'd you get the Ultralisk Cavern? You're gonna go for Greater Spire.
Those Disruptor shots.
This is starting to look like it's still going to be in Probe's favor here. Still has a nice bank, getting that 4th base up. Lurker harass on going down, Roach harass.
Ooh, I like this. Gonna be able to equalize a little bit on that economy and keeping Probe a bit busy APM-wise, and gonna make it difficult for him to use this army. This Disruptor army does require quite a bit of APM, and the Zergan counterattack also gonna be able to shut down this potential 4th expansion. Yeah,
here comes the attack again, though. Immediately picks off one of those Lurkers. Nothing really beefy to allow those Hydras to live to actually do their DPS. Now their upgrades are done. Once again, just barely avoids that, but that's too big of a Protoss army.
Yeah, he's doing a great job shutting down the 4th expansion, doing a lot of damage over in the natural expansion, and we see Probe down to 23 workers. There are no reinforcements, but let's be honest, does he need the reinforcements right now? Greater Spire's finishing up, but is Bly really gonna have time to get out Broodlords? If he does, if he gets out even 4 or 5 Broodlords, that could change the way that this game goes. He's done that much damage, but I don't know if he's gonna have time to.
He does have 4 Broodlords in the making, but they have to find a very key position to stand over. Probe still has some money to warp in some Stalkers, although once again they will be blinkless. Routers being made, actually. Really trying to get the best units for his buck. The Lings to take out that 4th base. The Lurkers are finally cleaned up, it looks like, and I don't think the Broodlord's going to be enough.
Ultralisk Cavern is also still around, but I mean, even if he tries to make the Ultralisk, the Immortals with +2 weapons are still here. The
the Phoenixes!
Oh, the Phoenixes, they're still alive. They were helping out with the Lurker defense back at home, and it seems like Probe may be in a position to equalize the game count 1-1 as he leads in a drastic 60 supply.
Yeah, this is definitely game over for Bly. And honestly, Probe played that really well. Don't want to take too much away from him, but Bly felt like he was playing it kind of silly.
Weird.
Like, Bly plays like that, so it's not like I'm saying he was trying to be BM, like he thought like, oh, I'm gonna win, no problem. But he did get a little overzealous with his cool tricks, instead of just focusing on, like, I guess, kind of the basics, you know? Like, actually having a defending army after you send the roaches in, right? Kind of forgot about that part.
Well, as Probe ties up the Series 1 to